No Harry Potter movie is
And
good.
you're like, give me the Snyder Cut. Oh, sorry, just walk in front of you here. Gonna put my popcorn down. Oh, sorry, gotta put this here.
Universal needs to sue Sony.
Hey, I'm an idiot. I was fired from Fox. Let me go.
I'd like actually to see Venom just crush Spider-Man.
Hello everyone, so I'm back today, and I'm here to talk about a movie, which I watched, and my face is very far away. Move this, whoa, there we go. I'm going to talk about a movie which, gotta admit, don't know how I feel about it, mainly because this movie is very fun and very entertaining, yet is not nearly any level of a cinematic masterpiece. And I don't know how to feel about a movie like that, which deeply or is thoroughly entertaining, but is not a masterpiece. So let me talk a little bit more about this. So I'm talking, of course, about the movie Spinning Gold, which releases in theaters, I guess, on Friday the 31st. Very limited release, unfortunately, because if I'm being honest, I think this is probably a perfect movie to watch in theaters. Mainly because the spectacle and the sound and all that stuff is just truly unbelievable, right? And I think this is a movie which, if you're looking for something dumb to watch, or not necessarily dumb, but like not necessarily a masterpiece of cinema, then this is the movie I would say you should watch. The music is honestly, all of the music is obviously incredible. And that's what really kept me at least drawn into this movie the entire time. Like, it takes the story, like, I think this is the thing where we've gotten to this point with these kind of musical bibliography kind of movies, where it's kind of like, okay, you're doing the same thing. And actually, it's funny because I can't find my phone right now, so I can't actually read exactly what I wrote. My phone is somewhere here and I just don't know where it is. But when I was watching this movie, it started off really interesting because it was like not the typical, it was kind of typical, but it seemed like they're setting something else up. And I said, oh, this almost feels like they're setting up something kind of almost Oceans-like. And I was like, is that really, like, are they going to kind of do a different kind of thing with this? And then it turned out they didn't, and it was the same as we've seen many times, especially over the last 5 years. But, I mean, the music's just incredible. I mean, the story is not great, but, some of the stuff, like, if you, like, outside of the story, all the spectacle stuff is awesome. And I mean, it is really good. I just don't know if we should be looking, like, now we're taking, like, executives in the music industry and trying to make them likable, and I guess there is a point where you're like, okay, so how much further are we going to go with this, right? Like, okay, first, now it's executives, and maybe some of these people aren't meant to be likable, right? And I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot of like these big question marks in terms of whether or not we should even be trying to make some of these people likable, and I don't think the story is necessarily very inducive to that, I guess. But what I would say again is that the music was just honestly incredible, and I really wish I had my phone because I had notes on my phone, and I don't know what happened to my phone. Anyways, yeah, I think this was a very interesting movie in the regards, I guess, that this movie really did allow everyone to get a look into these people's lives, obviously Kiss and Donna Summers and all this stuff. But I don't know. I feel like this might become a bigger discussion about where these biography musical kind of movies are now. I just don't see a purpose for them, to be honest. Like, again, I just have a hard time, and I don't understand like why it bugs me so much, especially for this movie. Maybe it's because it's not about a star, like a music star, I guess, themselves. It's about the record company kind of dude, right? Like the guy in charge of the record company. That's the person you're really sympathetic toward, and not the music people themselves. And I think that's kind of the difference, right? Like if this was a movie about Kiss, then I think it's very different because you feel a lot more sympathy because you want to like them, right? They made this great product. I feel like when you're making movies about executives or, even if it is a very good, because like I think the story itself, they do try to make it as inspiring as they can. But I think when you look at it in the fact that it is an executive of a record company, right? And then it's like, okay, I don't know how sympathetic you can really make them. And, they do try to make a story about belief, right? That's what this truly is. It's like one of those very copy and paste stories about, oh my God, we've always believed in you and then you came through. Kind of like it's weirdly like the sports movie trope, right? The underdog who no one believed in, the person gave belief to them and then they did great things, all that stuff. So that was what this movie really felt like in a nutshell, was like that stuff. That underdog story, but damn the music, man, and some of those performances and all of that stuff was fantastic. And honestly, again, if you're looking for this is not a bad movie. I'd say, I'll give it a rating at the end of this, but this is not a movie which is bad, right? This is a very good movie. I gotta admit, I was thoroughly enjoying watching it. But if I'm saying, if you're going in and you're like, I need a masterpiece, I want this amazing story with these complex characters and all of this stuff, and I want this to just blow my mind or change my life, you're not getting that. And I think it's kind of like, if you look at let's look at some of the recent movies, right? So let's look at like Rocket Man, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Elvis, right? They're up here, okay? Then let's go down. Then we go down a tier. Then we go down another tier. And then it's this movie. Maybe it's in the second tier. Maybe it's not in the third tier, right? But I'm saying it isn't. If you're looking for that category is different because, again, they really made the focus on the music star, right? So you got the performances. Rami Malek, right? Austin Butler. You got those guys to be utterly sensational. They became the roles here. You got an executive of a record company, which is cool. And I hear my phone buzzing, and I don't know where it is. It's right here. I found my phone, people. And so I'm just, I think the biggest thing it was really that kind. It was really that kind of thing, right? It was that kind of great fun, but not great story. And then on top of that, I think the other part of this was, because now I can see my notes, I can actually, talk a little bit more about this movie specifically, which is, there were so many fucking name drops. Holy crap. They literally, there was a thing where they're like, you're trying to compete, or something like, you're trying to compete with Elvis? Elvis Presley? It's like, bro, we know who Elvis is. You don't have to tell us. And I'm pretty sure the person you're talking to knows who Elvis is as well. Okay, I get it. This is a movie thing. But it's like, come on. There's so many name drops of people. Not even people related to in this movie. It's just random people. And it's like, okay, I get it, okay? But let's just chill out a little bit. But yeah, again, I think look, is there a performance in this that is even near the category of Austin Butler, Rami Malek, even oh my god, I don't remember his name anymore. Harry Potter actor. Oh my god, my brain. This is what happens when I record a review at 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning, probably. Daniel Radcliffe. It's not even on the level like Daniel Radcliffe in Weird Al Yankovic, right? It's not even. It's kind of like, because again, you're not presenting a musical star, right? The focus of this isn't a music star, and therefore you're not going to get a music star level performance, right? You're not going to get that groundbreaking, all-time great performance where you did from Austin Butler, right? I don't even think they have the supporting roles, supporting cast of Tom Hanks in terms of performance. I don't think you get any of that. I think the performances, again, if you're going for story performances, you're not getting any of that. I don't know how true the story is either, right? That's the other part of that I got to mention, because obviously I know as much as they want me to know, and that's all I know. So you don't get any of those performances. You're not going to get any of that from this movie. But that being said, god damn, the music is so great. And sometimes, maybe it's just an hour long kind of music video of all these great old songs. Maybe it is. But that's okay. Because that's a fun movie. And look, there's the technical parts of this movie are fantastic. Even though this is the thing, right? I know it's kind of the norm now, but come on, 2 hour and 17-minute movie. I don't think we really need to do that. Like, we don't really need to do the 2 hour 17-minute movie thing, right? Like, maybe there's enough story, but there are some parts where I was like, hey, I'm just going to get a bowl of ice cream at 1 a.m. because, this is dialogue and there's no music playing, and it's just like, I get it, whatever. No one believes in you. You're bankrupt. All this other stuff, right? Like, there's no, I don't. And also the other part of this, which I think maybe I'm being a little bit harsh with this movie, but I don't think I'm being unfair in the sense that maybe part of that was the fact that this movie was, without a doubt, it had a level of predictability because you know how the story ends, right? And I think it is the same, obviously, for all of these other movies with all of these other guys. Like, obviously, Bohemian Rhapsody, we know how that ended. We know how Elvis ended. We know how all these movies ended. Rocket Man would have ended before we went into those movies. But again, I think there's a difference between making a movie about a music executive and making it about a music star, right? Because I think you can kind of say, okay, well, I'm willing to see what happens here, right? But for a music, I don't know. I just think, this movie is just, you're making a movie about a damn music producer or record producer, whatever, right? Like, I think there needs to be an endpoint to the madness, and I think this movie, again, there's a reason it's not going to be, like, it's not in that. I've seen every single one of those movies. I can tell you, it is not in that category. If you go into this, and I think the biggest thing is just tempering expectations. If you go into it expecting a Bohemian Rhapsody, an Elvis, Rocket Man, right? Like, if you expect that, you're going to be disappointed. And I think in that second tier, which you got like Weird Al Yankovic, and if you expect that, you're probably a little bit disappointed. But if you expect, I guess, I don't even know if there's ever been like a bigger, like a movie in this kind of era made about a music producer, music executive. I don't know. Also, I think the story of a music executive, and maybe this is just me being biased, right? But I don't think a music executive story even hits as well as like a movie executive story, right? And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because movie executives technically probably also include directors. I don't know. But what I do know is that this movie it's a little bit weird, right? It's hard to judge because look, again, the music, fantastic. The performances, like the musical performances, I guess, great. But it's no Elvis, right? And I think that's kind of that's what I'm going to kind of say about that in that aspect. And I don't want to spoil too much just because I think, I want to kind of just push everyone to, but I think the key to this is still, this is not me saying don't watch this movie, because I think you absolutely should, because it is, like, look, I thoroughly enjoyed watching this movie. If it was bad, I would not have thoroughly enjoyed watching it for the 2 hours and 17 minutes that it was, right? But that being said, again, despite that fact, I think there are points, obviously, where it's slow. I think you're not going to walk out of there with, saying this movie changed my life or this performance changed my life. You're not going to get that. But again, I think, I don't know where I stand. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really know where I stand with this movie. I mean, this movie could come out and be a huge success and I mean, maybe it could be. I don't think it will be, just because Again, I don't even think it's in the tier of like, Tar or, Coda, I guess, which are also, I'm just looking at music movies now, and I'm like, you know what it's probably in the tier of, and I haven't seen this yet, I'm just going to make a guess here. It's probably like around the tier of like, I don't even know actually. I was going to say something very insulting, and then I chose not to, because I have self-control. Yeah, like it's not an 8 Mile, like let's be honest here. None of this movie is not in that kind of top tier. It's still fun, I think. No, you know what is an interesting comparison though? Empire Records to this movie. I think Empire Records is a better movie, and I think they also try to do two different things. But I think that would probably be, I guess, the closest thing to like, I guess, a movie about a record executive, right? Would be Empire Records. I don't know. It's hard to, at least based on my own knowledge, it's hard to kind of think of a movie. And also, I don't know how accurate the story is, which I think is going to probably be part of the factors. But like, look, again, if you're a fan of movies with music, if you like Bohemian Rhapsody, you'll probably like this too. If you were just kind of indifferent to Bohemian Rhapsody, or if you kind of came out of Bohemian Rhapsody, not because, or Elvis or any of these other ones, obviously they all kind of fall in the same category, and you guys kind of said, that was good, I love that performance from that guy, then maybe this isn't the movie for you. But what I got to tell you is this. I'm a sucker for old music movies and like old music in movies, and this just gave me all of that. And that'll forever just make it automatically a very fun movie, because it's, if you either give me a lot of like fun action, but like good fun action, and I think even more so if you give me great music and great like musical performances in a movie, then you're gonna have me sold 100% of the time. But I think that's all I have to say about this movie. Thank you. You guys should, again, absolutely check it out. It's unbelievable. Again, honestly, absolutely loved it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification bell on YouTube if you're listening to this. If you're watching this, hit the notification bell. If you're listening to this, then you should subscribe to the podcast feed and then go to YouTube and subscribe to us there, because we've got a fun interview coming out sooner rather than later. I don't actually know when it's coming out. We've got a whole bunch of stuff like actively planned, and a whole bunch of stuff that is in the pipeline and like nearly actively planned. But absolutely all of it is stuff that you need. You're going to want it. Like, if you love movies and you love all of this stuff, and especially if you love kind of behind the scenes stuff, and if you like review stuff, then you absolutely need to check us out, or keep checking us out, or subscribe, because, we see people who watch and don't subscribe. And if, and you follow us on social media at comicboys_. You can follow me on social media at ColorJamal03. Now, you should follow us on social media, because guess what? That's where you're going to figure out where all the content is. And I got to tell you, again, there's some utterly fantastic things in store and in the pipeline. So I would absolutely recommend that you check us out. And the grade I'm going to give for this movie, probably a 7 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10. Let's go 6.5 out of 10. Again, I thought it was a very solid film. I think it could have been better, but so far, at least, it's probably it's a top 5 movie of 2023. So take that for what you will. Anyways, thank you all for watching. And do all the subscribing stuff, and make sure you check out Spinning Gold in theaters starting Friday the 31st of March 2023. And if you're in Canada, it's playing in basically just in Scotiabank Theatre for that time. So you should absolutely check it out, especially if you've seen John Wick and Creed and all that other stuff. And then you should say, okay, I'm going to go watch this movie today, because fun. Anyways, I'm going to go now, because I think staying up until 2:26 in the morning is a bad idea. Who knows? Anyways, thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.